Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm your host, Bob DeMarco. Coming up, Laren Thomas, the genius of blade steels, has a new one out, and this one's optimized for forging. We take a look at my Jack Wolf knives collection because I got something new. And then we talk old guard versus the new guard. Are some of these knives classics? Are some of these knives obsolete? Of course, they're not obsolete, but I mean, are some of these venerated designs that we honored for so long, are they outdated? I want to talk about that and so much more right here on Thursday Night Knives. I just happen to have in my hands the Manticore. I thought I'd just show this off because it just happened to be in my hot little hands. This is the one I've been so excited about because it was the first legal switchblade purchase I did in the state of Virginia once they became legal, July 1st, 2022. However, this thing drives me nuts. You can just hear it rattle, rattle, rattle. And my, everything about this I like more than my Microtex, except for that. So I don't know. I keep thinking I might move it along. I don't know. Nomadic Adventures, good to see you. Smash the like button, he says. Helps the algorithm. Yes, it does indeed. Good to have you here. And Will B, I just got an email. Will B, thank you, sir. We have a new patron in Will B. We have a couple of other new patrons we will mention further up. And Will, you will get your official recognition a bit later. He says, "What's up?" And we say, "What's up?" back to you. Caleb Townsend, good to have you here. What's up, nerds? I love it with the K, of course. Knerd. Yeah, knife, nerd. Byron Kennedy, how you doing, Byron? Good to have you here, as always. Howdy, Bob, Jim, Junkies. Will be Thursday Night Knives, indeed. I want to show you what we're going to do a random knife giveaway tonight. This is becoming a sort of monthly tradition. He says, golf clap is becoming a sort of a monthly tradition right around before or after the giveaway for the Gentleman Junkies. We do a random giveaway. It's a Gungan. Good to have you here, man. Evening, he says. Evening to you. This one is going to be the giveaway knife, except this one is mine. You can't have this. You get to have a brand new one. Compliments of me good buddy Dave, this old sword blade reviews. Chris McNair, good to have you here, Chris. Evening, Bob and Jim. What is up, Junkie? Well, what's up with you, sir? Just here to gawk over some edged and pointed things. So we're going to give away tonight the CRKT made Ruger LCK, which stands for lightweight. Oh, I'm sorry. Lurch something knife. Lurch compact knife. Anyway, it's a Lurch design. I believe it's what's Lurch's first name? I'm unfamiliar with Lurch except in this context. And it's a great knife. This is the one that we have in our kitchen drawer. This has seen so much action. It has done it all, and it's razor sharp. I keep it stropped. It's a hollow ground blade. Very nice. And when it came out, I think it came out in like 2016, 2017, came out to much acclaim. 9198 David, good to see you here. 9198 David. Evening, knife people. Elbow cough. Oh, yeah, it's a lifestyle thing. Jay McConnell, good to have you, Jay McConnell. He is also a new patron. As of last week, we mentioned him. He says howdy, and we say howdy. Kep McNeshart, howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Well, happy Thursday Night Knives to you, sir. It is a pleasure. Shane, how you doing, sir? It's a good ting on Bobby. What's ting mean? I don't get it, but it's awesome to have you. I just spoke with Shane, and you're going to be hearing that post haste. Papa Shredder, good to have you here, Papa Shredder. Man, out in support of Papa Shredder is the Knife World, and of course Ezekiel, and Mama Shredder. So I hope all goes well, and I hope you guys are having an awesome night. We are going to be showing off. I think of the Shredder guys when I think of off-grid knives, and that we are going to be showing off the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway that's going to be happening in 2 weeks in a minute. But let's see. Shane says designs don't become obsolete, but steels do. But do they even become obsolete? I feel like the design can become obsolete before the steel, because there are some design things that are just trends that are there because someone else put it there and they sold some knives, and so another outfit says, well, we can sell some knives doing the same thing, and then it becomes a trend, and the good stuff stays, and the other stuff does become obsolete. And now I'm going to try and think. Well, I mean, we kind of see assisted open becoming obsolete. James Moore, good to have you here, James. Greetings, all. Oh, sorry. Greetings, all. I'm away on vacation in Virginia. Very good, man. And I don't bring a knife with me. Oh man. Okay, here. You know what, James? I took a page out of Dirk Werning's book and got myself a cool but very inexpensive Kubi. This is the very same one, and I took it to Blade Show. This is the one knife that I was like, okay, I really like it. I like the design, but I'm going to consider it sacrificial, just in case TSA has a the hots for it. And that way I was not unknifed, but I didn't feel nervous at all. I know, James, this is not your kind of knife, but you get something that's kind of like your kind of knife that you could travel with. But I know Virginia, I live there. I could understand why you don't want to even bother risking it. Izzy, good to have you here. Thursday Night Knives. Howdy, y'all. Well, howdy to you. That's a beautiful dog. Izzy, you should talk to Jock. Jock's Knives. Jock's Knife. He's got a beautiful husky, or two, actually. Caleb Townsend says, sounds like you need a deadlock. Yes, boy. Yeah, that's right. I certainly do. And you have one, don't you, Caleb? Yeah, the deadlock, the G&G Hawk deadlock. I think they're on D or C, and all the way on all the iterations. No blade play at all. Yeah, this is the one annoying thing about this knife, because otherwise it's a pure beauty, and I love the in and out and just the way it feels, and the blade is just gorgeous. Jimping on the blade you don't see often, so if I put my thumb on the back and do that, it doesn't make any sound, but that's kind of cheating. Feels like it anyway. Michael Morgan, good to see you here, Michael. I was thinking of you when I pulled out the old thingamabob. I know I'm going to see it the Yo Jumbo. I know I'm going to see it every week. I love that. Blade Ogre, good to have you here. Chris says, hello, all. This is my thing, I think. Just sitting here. If you don't like the blade play on the Manticore, you could always get a Hawk Deadlock if you have $1,600. Yeah. And the patience of Job to hunt one down, right? I am correct, right? They are a rare bird too. They don't, they come in drops, right? You can't just go to the website and buy one. I'm correct in saying that, right? Christoph Wilhelm, here's to you, buddy. I'm having trouble hearing y'all over the metal. Over the metal? What, this metal? It's a Gungan says, I'm considering the deadlock if I can find one. Definitely getting a Guardian Tactical out the front next. Yeah, I'd also like to try an Axial because they're USA made and somewhat inexpensive. And Jim Skelton has been, I don't want to say pushing them, but recommending them as very good, robust EDC out the fronts, made in America, reasonable price. Chris Cole, sup, everybody, he says. Chris, good to have you here, sir. Sup to you. Sup with you, I think is the right way to say it. Brian Needham, good to have you here, Brian. Good evening, he says. A good evening to you. When we're talking old guard versus new guard, I was thinking about Papa Shredder says, thank you. Absolutely humbled and grateful for the support from the entire knife world. Thank you. Well, that just goes to show when you put out a good product and you're good people, which just oozes out of your videos, then the world will see you for what you are. And that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that people have been rallying behind you. Off Grid is just amazing. They actually reached out to us just to say they support us. An amazing company. That is so cool. That is cool. They are amazing. Shane says, assisted open still sells in huge numbers. You're right. Okay. Foiled. You're right, because you go to any Walmart and that is one of the main selling points. And actually, if you look at Kershaw and CRKT, now this is a thoroughly unscientific opinion, but I would imagine that a majority of their knives are assisted, just to make up for the fact that in a knife you're selling for $24, it's hard to dial in the action. and the detent and all that, but it's much easier to stick a spring on it. Sorry. JN, good to have you here, JN, in your cool pencil drawing. What up, Bob and Jim? Y'all knife foos. Yes, I am a knife foos, indeed. Always have been, man. Always have been. Scotch and things. Sup, he says. Well, Scotch and things. It's good to have you here. What are the things? Knives and other cool stuff, no doubt. Well, it's good to have you. I only ever drink Scotch when I'm visiting my parents. My dad has a nice little sub collection of Scotch. He likes wine best, but he's got a nice little, and so we'll sit and drink a little bit of that, and it's like we're sitting in a peaty bog. It's delicious stuff. But I can only take it in small, delicate amounts or delicate sips. Byron Kennedy says, out with the fisking. Oh, God, I can be stupid sometimes. Out with the troops, in with the family, working together to create content. That's right. That's right, sir. I believe you. I believe in that concept. Byron says trolls. All right, got you. Troops. I didn't think that's what you meant. Papa Shredder said, haha, Shane. Ezekiel's wearing an off-grid hat every single day. That's awesome. I got one right across the room. I got some that's a cool hat with the camo. Springs are cheaper than QC. No doubt. Springs are cheaper than QC. That okay. All right. So can you think of anything that has but because that was one of my main things. Scotch and things says mostly knives. Okay. All right. So it's Scotch and mostly knives. Just looking. I'm looking at the PM2. And now, of course, I'm not suggesting that the PM2 is obsolete. I am not. And then we've got wait. You know what? I'm going to do it like this. I don't mean to jump ahead here, but there's also this. Like I have a little, I have the mini Griptilian here. It's wearing the AW, the scales, those aluminum aftermarket scales. AW, what is it? Advanced Weapons something. And then I have the Hogue, both kind of the same breeding, but the Hogue is the new one, and this is the old one. And does this, which many of us think is superior, do you think that this makes this obsolete? Yes, I know the blade grinds are different, and there is a difference in the Ritter blade, and that's the whole point. But I don't know. Wondering this question because today I was thinking about the Griptilian, and I was like, do people, like with all the other options, besides police I know that cops, law enforcement love Benchmades, at least the ones I know. And a lot of them think like that's where it stops. Once you buy your Benchmade, your knife buying days are over. And I obviously don't believe that. But I don't know. I was thinking about this very knife because it's been through the mill. It's 154 CM. I've sharpened the hell out of it and it works great. So no, but at the same time, this is way better. So maybe Big Bore Knife and Gear. Hello, everyone. He says hello to you, sir. Presumably, of course. Michael Morgan says AWT applied. I knew it. Applied Weapons Technology. If you knew it, why didn't you say it? I thought it was AWT, kind of like SWAT without the S and kind of switch the W and the A. In the words of Chris Reeve, making a knife is easy. Making 1,000 just like it is effing hard. Oh yeah. Oh, that's that. Well, that is the perfect concept. I mean, the perfect idea behind that concept. I mean, thinking about cars, handmade cars, there's a reason why they take so long to make and are so expensive. Like my Ferraris. Professor EDC says, hey, Bob, Jim, fellow Junkies. Hope you're having a great time. Hey, Professor EDC, your comment to my daughter and anyone who commented on my daughter's little rant, she was so thrilled that people took her seriously, and that's cool. She was incensed. Gaston Garcia, good to have you here, sir. My wife has an uncle, Gaston. I've wondered if I would carry my Kershaw link if it was not assisted. It's not cheap, but I love that it's assisted. I do like the link. I don't like the effort it takes to close it. I've wondered if I would carry my Kershaw link if it was not assisted. It's not cheap, but I don't love. Yeah. Well, people, does anyone know, is the link kind of like the any of the other Kershaws that you can deassist, or like the ZT 0566, where you can deassist it and it doesn't have a very strong detent, but you can slow roll it and you can close it without some of the Kershaws have detent holes. That's what I'm getting at. Gaston says, Jay McConnell says, Gaston, I love the link, but I stopped carrying it because of the assist. Gave it to a friend who loves it, so it gets the use it deserves. The link is such a beautiful knife, and that was their first kind of foray back into American. It wasn't their first foray back into American knife making, because they had been making the chive and the leak all along here, but I can't remember. But the link had to do with linking back up with American You know what? I'm talking out of school now. I just don't remember. These are half-formed thoughts. Papa Shredder says, your daughter made Ezekiel's whole night. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. They're about the same age. And yeah, that's right. Kids sticking up for one another, but not just kids sticking up for one another. It's like sensible, smart kids who also happen to have fantastic taste in knives, sticking up for one another. You guys are awesome. I enjoy those dad-daughter videos. Oh, thank you. Thank you. They're really they're awesome kids, like any other kids. They have their moments, but they're awesome. Big Bore Knife and Gear says, and it's an older model. Oh, you should be able to remove the assisted spring. Yeah. And there will be a detent ball and a detent hole in that blade. It just won't be tuned for that, though. I did that with my 0566, the Hinderer designed assisted smaller ZT. That was a great knife, except that it was assisted. But you could deassist it, but you could just so easily just shake it out. It took nothing. Same with the Blur. That's the one I was trying to remember. The Blur. Yeah. That's a cool knife. The Blur. That's one I could see just leaving assisted, kind of like the Leak. Just leave it for me anyway. Brian Needham. Yeah. The Leak, you're making some concessions all the way around. It's such a great knife, such a great blade, but it's untenable to carry without an aftermarket clip in the tip up position, our preferred position, of course. So you're going to carry it tip down, and it's going to be assisted. And 3, you have to use that tertiary, or I guess it's a secondary lock at the bottom of the handle on that Leak, because if that thing opens up in your pocket, it's going to open up the wrong way, because you're going to be carrying it tip down. And that needle-like point is going to just end the evening in an awful way. Brian Needham says, I've gotten into knives because I found a leak. Oh, really? How cool. Brian got into knives because he found a leak on the ground last year. That is cool. So I hope that whoever lost that leak just somehow knows, how could they, that at least they contributed to a lifetime love of spending money on things you don't need. No, this awesome knife hobby. Like when I lost my Bastinelli diagnostic in, I didn't lose it. I had to bury it in a plant potter at down in Florida at Universal Studios, and someone else got it. And I was just like, I just hope this is someone who needed it, and they vanquished their foe with it righteously, and God smiled on them, so it was all good on that end. And that's the story. It's not some kid who accidentally found it and then stabbed himself later in his crib or something horrible like that. When you lose a knife, it's like it can be sketchy. Anyway, JN said, try de-autoing a Kalashnikov 74. Did not turn into an awesome button lock. All right. Well, so take it from JN, people. Let's learn from everyone else's experiences and mistakes and not de-assist our Kalashnikovs. They will not work as awesome button lock knives. Christoph says, wholesome family vids are great, but we all know Bob is the Punisher. Yeah, that's me. No, I could be, but I'm not. I'm not. What I mean by I could be is like I have righteous anger in me, just like the rest of us, and But I do believe that whole thing about the meek in the meek shall inherit the earth are not just weak meek. It's meek as in has a large sword, knows how to use it, but prefers to keep it sheathed until he has to become a monster to righteously defend the good. Basically, Big Boar says the leak has a nasty needle tip. It does. You know what's cool is the random leak, which has they take the leak blade and they just break it off, and it looks like it's a Warncliffe, kind of an awkward Warncliffe, but sometimes who doesn't like an awkward Warncliffe from time to time? Big Boar says it will tenderize your thigh for sure. Oh man, well. It's Gungan says the tenderize and so much more. It's Gungan says the leak shall inherit the earth. With all of the leaks that have sold in Walmarts across the world, or at least across the country, I guess that could be right. That could be right. I think it just might be time, since I've been blabbing for so long, just to do a pocket check. I got a bee in my bonnet today, and I put up 3 shorts of what my actual carry was what my carry was today. And oh man, I like the Bowie mode that I'm going through. Well, I can't just go to work with a Bowie strapped to my thigh. So today I had this on me. I love this knife, the Cold Steel Espada large in full dress with the aluminum and the G10. This thing is so awesome. Not much to say about it. I, of course, only took it out to make the video. I didn't have to duel anyone with knives. So this did not get much, didn't get any use today except to make a video, to be quite honest. But it carries nicely, I got to say, in just regular jeans pockets. Carries pretty nicely. It's big, but I don't wear tight jeans, so it's fine. And it's really nice walking around with a big old Navaja in your pocket. It's got to me, a more traditional Bowie looking blade, but it has that Navaja platform, with the horn shaped handle and the long and the different, the size and the different ways to grip it. And not all of, most Navajas are sort of clip point anyway, Spanish clip point. But anyway, front right pocket was that. ESK today was the awesome. We were just talking off-grid knives, is the Scorpion. I love this thing. And this is from the first run batch of these Scorpions when they were made by We, and all their Elite series were made by We. These are now made by Best Tech, as are all of their they've gone exclusive to Best Tech. Awesome knives. Love these things. This one is interesting because it's got some older things that you won't see in the new version, like the button screws that have been replaced with the flat screws. Trying to get it to focus, but you know what I'm talking about on the clip, and a couple of other things. I guess I'm not sure what they are, but just a great knife. Had this one on me for actual use, but it didn't see any use. What did was this beauty, the brand new jeez, man. Jack Wolf Knives Vampire Jack. Look at that. Look at that beautiful handle. My God. This knife is really, it's even better in person than it is in photographs. And I thought it looked pretty cool, in photographs, but it has a really nice grip. I think it's very ergonomic. I think that's one of the main things I've gotten out of Jack Wolf Knives or Jack Wolf Knives designs, Ben's interpretation of these traditional designs. He's really maximized the ergonomics of these various handles. The dog leg just fits in the hand like a pistol grip, sort of. This has that partition in the center that gives your thumb a great place to come down on, and gives you a positive grip on the bottom part where your fingers are, and just feels great. The whatchamacallit, The gun stock had some incredible ergonomics that you're not really expecting in a slip joint. And I know this shape is, a utility. It starts as a utility thing. This bulges out here so that you can have the pin offset and have a flat uh, spring in the middle, so you can have a larger blade or nestle the blade deeper into the handle. So it's not just designed to look cool. It just happens to look cool and perform a purpose, or I'm sorry, serve a purpose. But yeah, Ben Belkin knocking it out of the park with the Jack Wolf knives. So this is what I was carrying today: the Espada XL, not XL, the Espada large from Cold Steel. I had the Scorpion from Off Grid Knives and the Vampire Jack from Jack Wolf Knives. What were you guys carrying today? It's autumn, and as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the opportunity to carry larger, heavier, thicker knives is here. So did you guys carry any of your bigger knives like this XL Cold Steel? Jan says, speaking softly and sorry, speak softly and carry a big freaking knife. Yes, that's basically it. It's a Gungan said, I have the XL Espada, need to get the more manageable large size. It's a Gungan. Is yours in this dress like this, or is it the G10? The G10 is nice. It's very easy to carry. It's a little bit thinner and it's a heck of a lot lighter. Professor EDC says, Bob, check out the channel. Check out the channel My Self-Reliance. He just did a wonderful video with his daughter of their fishing trip. It's a great channel. Oh, cool. Thank you. I will, Professor EDC. That sounds cool. Paper Tiger says, I have the first random leak, a gift from Ken 27 years ago. What? That is awesome. Good to have you here, Paper Tiger. I don't recognize your name, nor do I recognize excuse me. So sorry. Your ferocious avatar. That's cool. So you got the original random leak 27 years ago from Ken Onion. That's pretty cool. I'm curious if you know Ken Onion, Paper Tiger, and if he let you know about, was the first one that fell on the floor and broke, and he's like, man, this looks great. This will be a wonderful warrant. I'm just curious if there's a story behind the shape of that. Professor EDC says, it was my birthday this week. Happy birthday, Professor EDC. So I just had to give myself a Vampire Jack and the wee snacks. Love them both. Well, congratulations, man. That's pretty awesome. And happy birthday. And here's to many, many more. Coffee salute to many more. Seems logical. Good to have you here. Seems logical. Is there any guy in the knife community who's a skinny jeans wearer? I would venture to say, and this is not a diss, they're just way younger and hipper than I am. I'm guessing the Bally Boys, the guys who walk around flipping their Bally songs at Blade Show. I'm thinking there's some skinny jeans right there. Lacey Lace, hello, she says. Hello, Lacey Lace. Good to have you here. Papa Shredder says, no skinny jeans here. Yeah, for me, it's like I can't do baggy, but skinny, not that either. Not that either. I'm just not that generation. I'm an old school person, I've come to learn. Never thought I was. Certainly not when I was in art school doing the kind of ridiculous stuff I was doing back then. I would never say I'm an old school guy. I'm kind of traditional. I'm kind of an old, because I do have a few outlying opinions that aren't so old school, and a few outlying, life practices that aren't so old school. But who knows? Maybe they are. But I don't know. The fact remains. Seems logical. Yes, it's a good day when I can show off my kukris to somebody new. Thank you. Never Enough Knives 007. Sorry I'm late to this Thursday Night Knives Blade Party. I'm sorry, seems logical. I had a total brain fart right there. Total lockup. Seizing up. I'm like, sorry, late. He says, Byron Kennedy, my carry tonight after a poor day. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Byron. Was the sledgehammer and a single-bladed axe. Single-bladed axe at the end of a bad day. The Meek split 6 wagons of timber And wow, damn, made a campfire, and Hyde is sipping with reservist Woodford. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a very nice way to end a poor day. The sledgehammer, was a sledgehammer a single? Oh, a literal sledgehammer, because there was a knife not too long ago called the sledgehammer, and I was like, I thought, oh no, what was it? The nightstick? I'm sorry, the nightstick, and I thought that's a blunt instrument. Anyway, the point is, Byron, I hope the day has gotten better. It sounds like you're chilling by the fire after, with that wood that warms you twice, and a little bit of Woodford sounds nice. Blade Ogre says carrying the Smith and Sons ox. Oh, that's cool. I'm interested in Smith and Sons as a company, as I am in Bear and Sons and Bear and Sons. Benchmade tagged out. Love the look of that. Haven't had it yet, but I love that clip point. Benchmade Adamas in Burgundy Micarta. Love that. Medford Praetorian Swift. The American Service Knife. The Jack Wolf Benny's clip. Rosecraft Clinch River Swayback. That's the one with the big choil, I think, and the Bark River JX6. Man, that's again always awesome carry. So Smith and Sons ox, is that also a fixed blade? Are you carrying two fixed blades today, or is that Smith and Son ox? Is that a slip joint? What is that? And I will remember. Papa Shredder, been carrying the Rosecraft folders we just got. I would give you the names, but I can't remember them. So far, they have been great. I love the one that Scab has been carrying a lot. He's been showing off on his channel. It's kind of Warncliffe, and it's got an arced top. It looks a little bit like the knife I made for my mom and sister. Perfect utility knife, Warncliffe, and chunky. Chunk? Is it called Chunk or the Chunk or something like that? It's a Gungan. Knives, I carried a Bastinelli Mako. Nice. And an Emerson Elvia. Nice. Watch Tudor Black Bay. Okay, so let's see. The Tudor, I was just looking at the Tactile Knives website, and they have a picture of the rock wall next to a Tudor watch. And I'm like, oh man, ooh, is it time for me to go down that watch rabbit hole? And then of course I'm saying, of course not. What am I talking about? Of course not. I have kids in school. Max the Maker says, carried. First of all, hey Max, it's great to have you here, as it always is. Knives carried today were the GEC 49, used to cut 56 feet of twine tomato trellis. To cut down 56 feet of twine tomato trellis. Also on me was the Boker Karakurt. Oh yeah, that's cool. I was just looking at that. I think they're re-releasing that. Used to cut twine and sweet potato vines. Max the Maker out working the land. What is the GEC 49? What is the 49? Well, I can't. I'll spare you. I'll spare you. Dissentient 01. I don't know why that was hard for me to read. Dissentient 01. Good to have you here, Dissentient 01. The Taupe Hellcat utility. Yikes, that sounds awesome. I don't know that one in particular, but I do know Taupe knives are sweet. Oh, that is nice. Okay. Oh, that is nice. Freedom. You can't just say freedom. You kind of have to shout it. Oh, so that we don't have that bleak and empty space when Jim goes to that wide shot. I'll just put this this happy little fellow down there. I've been loving this thing. It is kind of ridiculous, but it's also remarkably light and facile. Shane says, Benchmade Adamas and Bradford Guardian 3 in Rex 45. Okay. All right. Awesome. So Shane was just telling me about this Bradford Guardian, and I am psyched to see it. I do like Bradford's. Which one is my favorite? I think I just like the regular drop point. They do have a cool looking Tonto, and I'm not as crazy about the sheep's foot, but that's just personal preference. What I am crazy about is their whole sideways leather scout carry leather carry systems, sheaths, because they're really low profile and discreet. It's like the only situation where I could realistically see myself kind of all winter long carrying scout style under a flannel or under a sweater or something like that. Whereas I've attempted scout style with other knives for very limited periods of time, and it just was impractical. Didn't work out. The seat, the sweater getting stuck on top of the knife, all that stuff. With the Bradford, I don't think you're going to have that at all. Oh my God, that coffee is drying me out. Seems Logical says, I carried my two sons today, the Bronc and the Sidewinder. I only know them by number. Can't fool me with those names. Scotch and Things says, on the road for work. So I have the Medford FF and the Strider SMF MEFP. So the MEFP, that is a monkey edge frag pattern. But what is FF on the Medford? What is that? But anyway, that's a on the road for work. So I have my Medford FF. What is that? And Strider SMF. The SMF is the only Strider I have and ever have had. I've only ever had two Striders, and they've both been SMFs, and that's like the perfect size for me. I got rid of the first one, which was a Lego, because the lock stick was just horrendous, and I never carried it, and it was boxy, and it felt weird in my hand. I think for a Lego version, the SNG is better for me, but with the concealed carry, the thin one I have, I love that SMF. So those sound like really stout, good travel knives. You're only going to bring two. You want two that, will go to the end of the earth if it happens while you're traveling. Chris McNair says, today the Towser K mini button lock and the Nimble T. Ooh, that's a nice combination. I love the Tonto on the Nimble. I think he nailed that Tonto design. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. The Umnomzan again says on the edge 72. I think I'm on month 3 now. How cool is that? I mean, that's discipline. That's old. That's a little bit old school. I was talking about I'm traditional, I'm old school. Yeah, but I cycle through my knives in a very new school kind of way. So like it is part of my ideal, which I don't live up to. We all have ideals which we don't live up to, at least not every day, right? But it's my ideal that I don't live up to, that I have 10 knives, 12 knives, and they're all of this quality. No cheap malt. They're all this quality, and I'm happy with them because they're the best I can afford, and they're the best out there, and I don't need more because this is too much. I want to be like that, but geez, man, just not there. So I applaud your carrying the Umnumzan for 3 months straight. Who knows? Maybe you can do that. Throw all your knives away. You have the Umnumzan. Like in those old commercials where you're supposed to throw everything away because all your pots and pans, because this new one came out. Gaston Garcia says, I carried today a Benchmade 942 Osborne. So the what is that? G10? I'm down with COVID. I'm sorry to hear that, Gaston. But the Osborne has been next to me in bed. I hope you've got it light, I hope you got a light version of it, sir. I hope you're otherwise healthy. That always helps. And I hope you're getting your rest and not watching too much screen. But you can listen to the mellifluous tones coming from your computer. But, you need your rest, sir. Get better. Caleb Townsend says, today I carried a Todd Begg Production Citadel. That's cool. HEA Designs Hunter, also cool. I do like the old blade design a little better, I got to say. And the CT Metalworks Custom. The Caleb Townsend CT Metalworks Custom Swiss Army knife. Cool. Very nice. Will B says, I had, as always, my Grimsmo Norseman Concept Predator titanium Tonto, a fine knife I happen to know, and the Kaiser Begleiter XL and the Civivi Chevalier. What? Someone. Now I'm gonna have to. Chevalier means, what does it mean? It's like worker, or it's something. Someone speaking French or looking up French, let us know what it meant a few weeks back. But how am I supposed to remember it that far back? Jay McConnell says, traveling this week and have a Sabenza 31. Love that. With the Black Micarta and GEC 68 and Cocobolo. God, that's okay. So I've recently really fallen hard for the Cocobolo. I believe this is, I think this is Rosewood actually, but I love Cocobolo. And then, you were mentioning the 31 with black micarta. This is my 21 with black micarta. And this, like no other micarta I've ever had on a knife, this came gray as the rest of the knife, like black micarta often does. Here's a good example. Like this, well, shit, where is it? Now I got to dig through right here. So this is black micarta, and it's been gray like this for a long time. This black micarta showed up gray, and immediately, like I used it like 3 or 4 times, and it turned black as night, black as the ace of spades. And I thought that was so cool. And I don't know why. I think it might be because it's end cut or a different cut. It just took my oil much quicker, and I don't know, it's interesting. But anyway, your 31 with the black micarta sounds awesome. 9198 David said, carried my Spyderco Sage in Maximet. Demco 8020 in 3V. Ooh, that's awesome. Spyderco Yo Jumbo in S90V. I know, same maker. That's okay. I mean, this is pretty awesome. And the Hogue Deca in MagnaCut. And the reason, okay, this is acceptable. Of course, the double Spyderco carry is acceptable in this case because obviously you were going for different steels today. You needed your Maximet for something. You needed your 3V for impact, your S90V for superior edge retention, I guess. I don't know. And the MagnaCut just as the all-arounder, like the amazing all-arounder. I see what you were going for, and I totally excuse the Spyderco gaff just as long as there weren't other options. Caleb Townsend says, ain't anything skinny about my jeans. Right on. Yeah. Seems Logical says, everyday city carry Ray used to be a skinny jeans kind of guy. He bulked up too much now, so they don't fit anymore. Yeah, he did. He's looking good and fit. Yeah, he's a cool guy, and I know he worked for a long time at a CBD store. I'm not sure if he's still there, but definitely a healthy, health-oriented guy. And I love his ASMR videos. So does my daughter. Lacey Lace says, skinny jeans are a crime against humanity. Yeah, and they could actually put a halt to humanity. Too many of those tight jeans mean not enough of our swimmers can swim. So, it's actually it could be a national security issue, actually, skinny jeans. If our population drops radically, Christoph Wilhelm says, I don't yet have the heart to carry the numbered double blade Ohio River Jack. I don't yet have the heart to carry the numbered double blade Ohio River Jack. Midnight Jack, Maritac, Brass PFL in Compass and Compass. Maritac Brass PFL. Is that a light? I'm sure it is. Mindo tie pry bar and a Douglas Model 1. Okay, I don't know what the Douglas Model 1 is, and I'm pretty sure the Maritac is a flashlight. The flashlights. Yeah, I know. I just got to get over that and just start spending my money on flashlights because I find myself in the dark all the time. That's what it is to be the youngest sibling. Kep McNessart says, today I carried my Nordsmith Lapwing. That's cool. Nordsmith is the brand that David C. Anderson of the Blade Center, that's his line of knives, and he has LT Wright making them, I believe. The Lapwing is cool. That's I think the small neck knife, I think. LT Wright little neck, little muck in 3V. The Benchmade tagged out. I got to get my hands on one of those, but maybe I'll wait till they have titanium handles. And my new Sea Riser Ohio River Jack sheep's foot in black micarta. I gotta get me one. I don't know why I keep sleeping on this. I need to get an Ohio River Jack for many reasons. First of all, they look awesome. Second of all, they're jackknives and they're up there in terms of production, and they have Ohio in the name. And I actually don't know much about traditional pocket knives. The website, hopefully, maybe they're based in Ohio, which would be cool. Anyway, Mr. Beyond the Beard carried my ProTech SNG. Hello, Mr. Beyond the Beard. It's good to have you here, sir. ProTech SNG operator. That's the all black automatic ProTech SNG with the little tritium in the button. And the Civivi Odium. It's Odium. It sounds odious, right? And Victorinox Compact. Huh. What's the Compact? I was thinking immediately of the little keychain one, which for some reason I can't remember now either. Lacy Lace, if you're wearing skinny jeans, you don't have to worry about sperm count because you ain't got any. Yes, precisely. They need to be cooler than the rest of your body. Tight jeans bring everything up close to the body. Need I say more? Yeah, keep it all loose, people. JN says carbon fiber S90V Native Chief, an old standby for JN. I like that knife. In concept, in theory. The 20CV G10 sheep's foot griptilian. I want that knife. That's how this whole thing started. I want that knife. Not this whole channel, but this whole thought of, but is it obsolete? Why am I getting that? I have all these other knives. What do I need to backtrack and get a griptilian for? You have a griptilian. Yeah, but I don't have a large sheep's foot with all. Yeah, but what, you ever going to carry it? No, probably not. Well, then what are you going to, well, for all the work I'm going to do with it? What work are you going to do with it? I mean, honestly, that you're not going to do with a cheaper knife. Because I want it. That's the conversation going on inside. Tucson TS206. I'm unfamiliar with that one. I have this one. I love this one. Sorry. And the Mora Eldris. Sorry, that was obnoxious. The Tucson TS206. This is about you right now, JN. And the Mora Eldris, some other stuff. You showed off about a year ago, maybe a little more, that really cool stag-handled 5-inch Bowie that I think you got from your uncle. That was cool. And I think you were carrying that knife. Am I right? It's a Gungan. Hey, some of us were doing fine with the ladies back in 2005 wearing our skinny jeans. Hey, man, I'm not suggesting you weren't doing well with the ladies. I know my wife, before me and back, we're older. So back in her dating days, she went for the rock and rollers and the skinny jean, the painted fingernails and all that stuff. And that's cool. I just was never that, just wasn't, okay. So I do want to make sure I did announce this. I'm just blabbing. I think it's the coffee. I do want to remind you all that there is a brand new one of these right here. I'll show it to you, and not my crusty old one. The Smith & Sons Ox is a liner lock sod buster in D2. That's cool. Liner lock sod buster. All right, so we're about to give away one of these. Here, that's my copy. But thanks to Dave, This Old Sword Blade Reviews, who is usually with us on Thursday night. I think he's well, I haven't seen him yet. Hope he's well. He gave this to the channel along with the scads of other cool knives that we've been giving away. But this is one of the favorites of the bunch because I have it and I've been using mine for a bunch of years now. Like 3 or so. When they first came out, Nick Shabazz did, and a couple of others did incredible reviews of this knife. And then you couldn't get them for a while. You could get the drop point, but not the Warncliffe card. I forgot card. So we're giving one of these away. Hollow Ground 8CR13 MOV strops back up to razor sharp in like 2 or 3 passes on the strop I keep in our kitchen. This is our kitchen junk drawer knife, one of 2. I also have a Buck Stockman in there. And so this gets used to open boxes, Amazon boxes, all sorts of, my wife does these juice things and they come in boxes and cuts those open with this. A lot of random sort of thoughtless package slashing happens with this. And that blade shape is perfection for it. This is a great utility knife. It's not necessarily winning any beauty contest, though I actually think it's pretty damn cool. But it's not what you would traditionally call a handsome knife. But, who cares? It just destroys its work. So we're going to call this #knife. Oh, look at this. 007. This used to be James Bond's knife. So you got that going for you if you decide to resell this. But why would you? This is Ruger branded. Oh, whoa. The action on this is way better than mine. Wait a sec. Did they put washers? I mean, I can't tell, but this is way smoother than mine. So that's awesome. I guess I haven't taken mine apart in ever and cleaned it, but this is the one you will be receiving. And all you have to do is put hashtag knife in the chat, and it's yours. So hashtag knife in the chat, and we're going to do this at 11, at the crack of 11. We're going to do this. 11, right? Yeah. Okay, in 9 minutes, we're going to give this knife away. So if you want your very own Ruger Knives, CRKT made, Lurch designed LCK, please, hashtag knife in the thing. Okay. I want to mention the patrons I mentioned a little earlier. Thrasher's Garage, good to have you here, Thrashers. Just got done hanging the last deer and thought, damn, I can still catch Bob. Awesome. How is everyone this evening? Well, I'm going to speak for all of us. I think we're doing well. I know I'm doing great. But Thrasher, that sounds delicious. I love venison and haven't had any in ages, but I like to tell the story that the very best steak I ever had. I used to I have a good friend who I haven't seen in ages, way back in my Philly days, and we worked at a restaurant together. And she was a great cook. I'm sure she still is. Lori is her name. She was great cook, man. And anyway, I went over to her house and we're eating, and we had venison, and she cooked me venison, and it was the best damn steak ever I had. And I don't remember where she got the venison. I don't think she got it from the restaurant we worked at, but who knows? Maybe she did. I don't know. Or maybe there was a hunter in the family. But you mentioned deer, and now I'm thinking about steak. Paper Tiger says, I worked for a defunct knife company many years ago when Ken Onion started at Kershaw. He came to the manager's meeting to push his knives and gave each one of us one before they went on sale. How cool is that? I worked for a defunct knife company. When you say knife company, Paper Tiger, you mean were you a retailer or a manufacturer of one brand? That could be cool. Shane says, Bob, the Guardian sheath is high quality, but requires a thinner belt than what I wear. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, well, that's sucks, actually, because that's one of those cases where it's like, oh, so close to awesome, but just misses the mark. I know like 2-inch wide is like on the outside, and most sheaths can accommodate a 2-inch belt. Fighter flipper. Okay. Oh, okay. Fighter flipper. Oh, is that the Marine Corps one? Oh God, man, that thing is cool. If that's the one. Anyway, Byron Kennedy says, enjoy last night in camp, Thrash. Okay, enjoy last night in camp, Thrash. I'll have another Woodford for you. And Dad, oh my God, wait. Okay, I don't know what this is, but you guys know each other, and there's hunting, and there's whiskey, and there's fires. I love it. I love it. You know, I live in suburbia, and I am surrounded by girls and women, and I love them dearly, and they're awesome. But it's also nice to think of whiskey and fires. We do fires, we do whiskey, but deer hanging up and hunting camp, and maybe that's part of retirement for me. I don't know, but to me, it makes me wistful. Seems Logical says, I remember the commercial that started out by saying, forget all you know about slip covers. And I did. It was a load off my mind. I love that. Forget everything you know about shampoo. Yeah, it's done. I love that. Jan, cheval equals horse. Oh, okay, that's right. Chevalier. So that would be like a horse rider, right? Horse, knight, horseman. Whence comes our word cavalry. Oh. All right, I'll forget that promptly, but for right now, I love knowing that. Now I will remember that. Chevalier. Yeah, because it sounds like Chevy, and a Chevy moves. Chevy's a vehicle. An old vehicle was a horse, and that's how I'll remember it. Shane Gable says, my first Magna Cut blade is coming from American Blade Works. It tested at 63.8. I'm very excited. I ordered it unsharpened. That is gangster. And are you going to send it to Jared or to BP who are you going to send it to? Or are you going to do it yourself? I don't mean to presume that you're not going to do it yourself. But if I were to get one unsharpened, I'd send it to a luxury sharpener. And I don't know, maybe you are, and that's something I don't know about you. Have a knife day. Cold steel black sable. Oof. I also have purchased my first Randall. Yes, have a knife day, man. You've got an awesome collection. I like your fixed blades. He's got a killer SOG collection. As a matter of fact, his killer SOG collection prompted me to pull out my SOG Super Bowie. He did a video on his Super Bowie, and I think just today, and was pointing out the shark's tooth at the tip of the blade. And that thing is perfect for that Bowie back cut. You don't need any more edge than that little tiny gouger right there. Why is this not? There we go. So that shark's tooth, very, very cool. I love this knife. Shane says the American Blade Works Model 2 is about to drop. Magna Cut Warncliffe. Yes, that sounds cool. The Model 2, so he's on version 6 of his Model 1. So this guy really takes care to make a Michael Martin really takes care to make the knife awesome. Colin Maison Pierre, good to have you here, sir. Hello from Blade Show West. Well, hello to you. I was just looking at your Kubi today on Amazon. I was trolling, and I haven't gotten a new knife, new folder in quite some time, and I've been wanting the Tonic Collins revolutionary backlock with the Warncliffe blade, and but I wasn't looking at that because I don't have that right now in the budget. So I was looking at the it's your Kubi. And I was looking at the one with the green, the jade handle and the black. You're like, I have a couple of Kubis. Okay. Anyway, Colin, it's great to have you here. I hope Blade Show West is an awesome success for you and Lefty, and I just hope you guys are killing it and having a great time to boot. Christoph says, Bob, I've found the older hurdle requires a proficient flashlight. Wait. I've found the older hurdle requires a proficient flashlight, makes up for what time takes away. It's required and not frivolous at all. I did not say frivolous. I do have them. I have them in my backpack, on my keychain. I just don't fetishize them like I do knives. And could do watches and kind of do pens. But it's such a short, it's a thin line between all of that and flashlights, and I just can't. I don't have the emotional room in my heart for flashlights, man. I just got too many knives and some tomahawks, and looking to expand the swords. So you can understand. But I did not say frivolous. Redacted, good to have you here, Redacted. Today I carried my cold steel Spartan. Good knife. Understatement. My Para 3, a knife I would like to get in the lightweight version. Benchmade Infidel, nice 4-inch bladed, double-edged out the front. My Kaiser October. They just came out with a couple of new ones. I'm commenting on each one here. They came out with 2 new versions of that October, which really are beautiful, especially the milling on the titanium one. Victorinox Ranger, the Kai Chef knife. I have a couple of those. My Ronco Slick-O-Matic, and my Boker Elite Carbon straight razor. I love the idea of a straight razor. Hopefully it's in your boot somehow. But the Ronco Slick-O-Matic, I don't know what it is, but I do remember new from Ronco. I remember the commercials, the Ronco commercials. Must have been a guy named Ron in the 70s, and I think he lived in Anaheim, California. I think he was, well, in any case, Ronco was a mail order TV company. What was the Slick-O-Matic? I know Jim remembers Ronco. I know you have to, Jim. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I think the only justification any of us junkies now require to buy a knife is because we want it. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. All right. #knife. Let's do this. Roman M. Hey, guys. Hey, Roman, since you're just here, giving you a chance to put #knife. Just do it. You'll benefit. #knives in the comments. And if you're selected randomly, you could win the CRKT LC. I always forget the name of this. LCK by Lurch. This is an awesome knife. This one, by the way, sir, is the one that is in my junk drawer at home in the kitchen. Does an awful lot. I'm giving you a brand new one with #knife if you are selected. So be sure to drop that in the comments. Have a Knife Day says, I was always broke when I was in the Army. So, so I buy what I wish I had when I was in. Oh, man. Oh, that's a bit of an irony, huh? Just look at how beautiful the Mac V SOG profile is. God, I love that thing. All right, Todd Carr, how you doing, man? Todd Carr is with us. Evening, everyone, he says. It's good to have you here with us. Lacey Lace says, I'm glad this live is on. I'm so dang bored tonight. Oh, my God. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Thursday night, I mean, whether it's Thursday Night Knives or something else, Thursday night, to me, was always my favorite. Now that I'm in the, it's still kind of my favorite. I love it now for Thursday Night Knives, but it's like, it's not amateur. You go out Friday, Saturday night. Those are amateur nights. That's bridge and tunnel night, right? And that just means, well, in New York, that means people from the outer boroughs come in, but everywhere else, it just means, it's amateur night. But Thursday, how can you be bored on Thursday, Lacey Lace? Well, I am glad you're here. I am indeed. Dwayne Letterman says, hey, Lacey, did you put #knife in the comments? Dwayne, #knife in the comments. Dwayne Letterman says, hello, everyone. Shane says, chat is rolling tonight. Bob is 30 minutes behind. Oh, my God. I am. It's not, yeah. All right, so let's do this then, shall we? Let's do this. All right. 30 minutes behind. Got a schedule to keep, apparently. Thank you for keeping me on time, Shane. Did you put, Shane, put it in there. All right, let's do this, Jim. Bring up the random generator, #knife. Let's do this. Let's count down like they do on History Channel. They always count things down. So let's engage in, here we go. 3, 2, 1. JN, couldn't happen to a nicer fella. JN, good to have you win this knife with us here tonight on Thursday Night Knives. JN has been a regular contributor to Thursday Night Knives for a couple of years. So I'm pleased as punch to see that this will be going up to, you're in Canada, right, JN? You're totally void. You're totally void from this. No, I'm just kidding. I will put this in the mail to you. Just send me your address, please. You can just put it right through the website, or just put it, right through the website, or leave it in the comments if you want everyone to send you a knife. This is to JN, remembering JN. Actually, I don't have to do that. I have a pencil. There, proves it. JN, it's going to you. Well, thank you guys. That's awesome. I'm glad that he got that. And then, just since we're right here, let me show you this real quick. This Off-Grid Knives Warncliffe Blackout is what we're going to be giving away for the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway in 2 weeks. I believe is that the 20th, Jim? October 20th. Yes, indeed. So yeah, we'll be doing that then, and we will be giving away that knife. So people who are part of the patron group, Gentleman Junkie group, are in the running for this. This thing is awesome. I have the orange handled version of this in my car with a glass breaker, but it's got these serrations that most people would bristle at. I find them charming, but this one has a perfectly straight edge, a nicely dropped point there, and it reminds me a lot of the early ZTs, like the 0200. I should have pulled that one out. It feels like a 0200 in hand. It's contoured in this this way, and then it's got all of these elongated hexagonal divots milled in, and it feels good in hand. I mean, it feels all right. Do you have a pair of boots that it's almost like it feels better to have the boots on your feet than not? It's almost like they almost feel better than bare feet. This is kind of how it feels in hand. It almost feels better to have this in your hand than to have nothing in your hand, which I guess a lot of it's not an unusual phenomenon for a knife person to feel, but this thing feels great is all I'm trying to say. Damn it. It's really awesome. And it has really good action. I just cut myself on it. I just glanced a little bit. Really good action. Speaking of assisted, this is an assisted knife, but this is kind of different. It feels different to me than the other assisteds I'm familiar with, which are just basically CRKT and Kershaw, which have this weird lag and then it sort of flops out. This is way more deliberate. This is actually just kind of feels like a really strong automatic that's just actuated in on a different axis. This thing is yeah, it feels different from most assisted knives. So we'll be giving that away, Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway on the 20th of October. I can't believe this. 20th of October. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I did some work on the belt grinder today trying to thin out the edge geometry of my Cold Steel SRK C today. Oh, compact, the small one. Not a fan of the cinder block geometry it came with, but now it's getting more cutty. That's funny. Yeah, they are a bit of pry bar-ish. The old CR rescue knives there. Todd Carr says, cool. Colin, wish you guys the best of luck during Blade Show West. Yeah, so Colin Maison Pierre, Devo Knives. They're out there. They've got a bunch of cool. Oh, my pleasure, man. Thank you. They've got a bunch of really cool prototypes right now. The names are escaping me, but the most recent one has some really cool shaping, contouring in the handle. That looks really cool and looks like it's going to feel really good in hand. Have a Knife Day says the Super Sog is definitely a handful. It is. I used to regret it kind of. I kind of wish I always got the smaller one. I'm going to get that anyway. Just the regular Sog Bowie. But I had to get the Super when I bought it because, Super. But it is big. It's a big knife. Ron Pompey was a genius. Oh, wait. Not Pompey. Ron Papil was a genius. Who is this? Who is Ron Papil, redacted? You're like, Bob, we were just talking about this, but I don't know who this is. Ron Papil. Well, let me know who that is. And Ron Papil is Ron Co. I gotcha. I was just assuming his name was Ron, but yeah, Ron Papil. Yeah, he was a genius. I'm sorry, Jim, can you just go back real quick? I want to see that. And it's the Slice-O-Matic. I misspelled it. May have made that up. Oh, okay. Slice-O-Matic. All right. Lacey Lay says, anybody that is on my IG seen my carry today. LOL Gerber Sumo, Gerber Zilch, and Gerber Air Ranger, and had a tons of cardboard cutting to do or done. I did it for the Gerber fans. Yuck. Okay, so I'll tell you what, Lacey. The Air Ranger has something going for it. It was designed by Bill Harsey. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. And it looks like a Harsey knife. And the Zilch, I've been incredibly impressed with for a $20 knife that I picked up during a lunch break Knife Jones at REI. It's a pretty damn good knife. So good for the $20 and for Gerber that I bought a new friend for his birthday. I got one of those because he didn't have a knife in his 40s and didn't have a pocket knife, but I gave him one. And I don't mean to be judgy. But I was just a little surprised. So I think the Zilch is a good thing. Sumo, what's that? I think that might be a little roundish thing. Or am I just making that presumption? Sharp Guy ATX, good to have you here, Sharp Guy. Pocket Fisherman. So is this like a case, like a large toothpick with the secondary? Probably not. With the secondary scaler and eye gouger. Shane says, Bob, in my opinion, the lightweight version of the Para 3 isn't worth the money savings or the weight savings. Interesting. So I was unaware of the money savings because I thought the Para 3 came in some stupid steel, like some very expensive steel when it was in the lightweight version. But the weight savings, yeah, that's interesting. The weight savings is rarely a consideration for me. Actually, the reason I want to go lightweight on the Para 3 is for the relative roundness of the GRN. I'm only making that assumption based on, say, my Delica or my Endura. they just kind of have a little roundedness that, where the hell did the other one go? That the, here, I'm going to put them under the knife cam right here. There's a bit of a roundness to the GRN that you don't see in the G10 with the liners, and it just seems a little bit thinner. And I would be carrying the Para 3 in my back left pocket, most likely, or just dropped in the pocket. So the kind of rounder, softer on the edge, the better. I'm sorry, Jim, could you go back to the last? I saw that there was a comment from Scott N. Good to have you here, Scott. Thanks for the posters, as always. Other than OS 8, what other steel would you want for the SOG Super Bowie? Gee whiz. I mean, gee gosh golly. 3V, I guess. I mean, why not? If we're talking like that, I guess 3V, because you might need to go into the high impact kind of zone with this knife. High impact in terms of, like, if you're using it for camping and survival. Yeah, I guess 3V, right? That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing these days, 3V. But I love 1095 personally, and I would be just fine with that. Mike, yeah, good to see you here, Mike. Hi, Bob, Jim, and everyone. Well, hello to you, sir. Pleasure to have you and your kitty. Byron, wasn't the Slick-O-Matic the first, the free gift one bought when one bought the Bassmaster 2000 blender? Yeah, the Slick-O-Matic. That's for scraping down the sides of your blender. Slice-O-Matic. So I wonder if the Slice-O-Matic, that's awesome. I wonder if the Slice-O-Matic inspired the Ginsu a few years later. Christoph says, #knife and flashlights and proper fitting jeans. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, sir. Happy Haptics EDC. Good to have you here. Happy Haptics. Lol just got here. Well, it's good to have you, man. Jose Abdul Favela, good to have you here. I'm late, he says. I think, Jose, last week I said your stickers are on the way, blah, 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 blah. And then I realized when I got back to work that the returned envelope was indeed from a Jose, and was indeed from someone who's got a hyphenated last name and is in Canada, but it was a different person. So sorry for the mislabeling last week. Juggling. Wait, what did that say? I'm sorry, that last one. I'd love to see the SOG Super Bowie in 14C28N or MagnaCut or Vanex. 14C28N is an interesting thought. A lot of those original bushcraft knives came out in that steel. Mike says, smash that like button. I agree. Smash that like button. Or gently depress it, depending on how much you like your computer. But either way, engage it. Engage, like they like to say on those shows. Chunky Cut, good to have you here, Chunky Cut. He says that off-grid looks like it did something wrong and knows it. That's a beautiful description, Chunky Cut. Now, is that because that's funny, man. Do you think that's because of this line right here? That tip is, don't be fooled, that tip is pointy. I just caught my dry skin on it. But is it this? Does it look like it's skulking away because of this curve? Or would you like to see it more like this? Let's see. Would you like to see it more like a sax? Like that? I'm always preferential to a Warncliffe. I mean, this is kind of a sheep's foot, actually, isn't it? But I mean, they're calling it a Warncliffe. It's a thin line. I don't know. I don't know where that line is. I want custom scales for my Voyager XLs. I like that. It's just I like that, Jose. I like the way you just boldly declared that. And damn it, I do too. For a lot of them, for a lot of my cold steels, I think it would be cool. Yes. I like that. Raise your fist and ask for what you want, or demand what you want. You don't raise your fist and ask what you want. You raise your fist and demand what you want. And you want my Carta scales for your Voyager XLs. Or was I projecting with the material? Did you specify material? Not sure. Scott N said 154 would be nice, tough, but easy to maintain. I love 154 also. I do indeed. You know, and I don't know what SOG's deal is with their OS 8. I'm sure it's okay. I've never, ever used this knife. This has only been for a while, this was my travel knife. Well, for years, actually, when I lived in New York and my wife was in DC. She wasn't my wife yet. and we were about a year and a half. We were traveling back and forth. This was always the knife that came with me. This in a folder. Um, I figured if the bus broke down during the, I wasn't in a dark place. I was in a very new love place. But the dark side of the new love was, what if this all collapses when everything collapses around us? So I better have a good knife on me, because I might be on the bus on the way to DC when the apocalypse happens. I'm gonna want a knife that has a sharpening stone. Really, that's what it all came down to. How do I maintain my blade if the apocalypse happens whilst I'm en route? Because that's the kind of thing I had my mind free enough to think about and consider. Scott N said, I wish SOG would explore other steel options for such a great knife design. I just wish they would focus on this knife design as well as some of the old school ones that they have retired. These fixed blade knives with the stacked leather handles are so choice, and they should not get rid of them. I don't know if they have, but I know they don't push them. The Zilk action is really shockingly great, says Lacey. I agree. It is. As a matter of fact, mine is pops out like nothing, and it falls shut. It just drops shut. It's a thin, full flat ground blade. There's barely any weight, but it does drop. Byron, thank you, man. Byron Kennedy, what are you doing, sir? You are a gentleman junkie. This is above and beyond by a mile. Thank you, sir. Bob, if Thrasher's old man had to use a Jim Bowie knife to skin those bucks, what say you? Oh my God! If Thrasher's old man had to use a Jim Bowie knife okay. All right. Well, since I already showed the Frontier, you wouldn't use that anyway. And I do have the very, very sensible Trailmaster out here. That's a little too sensible. I've shown off the Shining Mountain Bowie quite a bit, so I'm going to leave that off the table, though. That is pretty awesome. I think maybe you might want to go for this. Yep, I'm thinking it's the Kudaman Bowie. I'm just loving this knife lately. I'm just going to put this under the knife cam for a second. You got a perfect Bowie shape. I love the shape of this. And there are a lot of different Bowie shapes, and I love them all. I like the long, thin, parallel spine and edge for fighting. I love that. I love the big belly of the Shining Mountain Bowie, which is, all manner of camp chore, as well as, lopping off the limbs of your adversaries. And I love the Western Bowie with its deep curve in its clip. But this right here, the coffin handled, it's kind of just a regular Bowie. I don't know how else to put it, but it's got the sort of coffin handle. Well, I guess a coffin handle swells a little bit, but something about the simplicity of this really, really gets me. But though the hollow grind and the incredibly sharp edge of this Spanish Kudaman Bowie, I would have to say this is what should be used. And I know it might be crazy, but I don't know. I think you should use this. So I'm putting this one up, and I'm going to salute you with this knife, sir. If you had to skin with this Bowie, which would it be? And I guess I'm saying it would be this one tonight. Though we have many great options. Here's to you, Byron. Thank you so much for that super chat. It is greatly appreciated, sir. And by the way, the red stitched leather sheath is a joy on this big old knife. Put that there. Todd says, today I was at home. My carry was the Fiskars X7 hatchet, the Watchfire small hatchet, and some more knives, doing some work, getting some wood blanks ready for carving utensils. How cool is that? So, Todd, is this something that you do for fun as well as utility? Do you use those? Do you use those carvings? Those carved utensils. Christoph says, press that like button with the tip of your blade, bros. Yeah, I like that. Let us gently tip. Wait, what was that? Okay, here's an assignment. If you haven't seen Role Models, God, you got to see that movie. Role Models is great. I've been watching that thing on cable for years, and it just gets better every time. I think I may have even mentioned it last week, so I apologize if I did. Todd Carr says, Nathan's Knives has done some amazing scales for cold steel knives. He has a YouTube channel where he shows making them for customers as well. So is he current? I'm going to write this down. Nathan's Knives. Okay. That's cool for scales. All right. Cold steel scales. I'm going to check that out. Thanks, Todd, for the heads up. Tim Simcoe, good to have you here, Tim. Little did you know when the apocalypse happens, we would be trapped at home. Yeah, no shit. How about that? Yeah. Man, I just saw some video of when they were closing the beaches in LA, and these cops are on the beach in Jeeps telling people you can only be out here to work out. You can't have blankets, you can't have chairs, you can't have drinks, you can't have coolers, you can't. And I'm thinking, my God, California is such a beautiful state, and there's so much such cool culture there, and there's so much to love about California, and they just botch it all up with their government over there. And I'm not, I'm not Mr. Politics, but you could be blind and see that. That's such a beautiful state, and it's like one of our richest resources. And anyway, Scott N says, that's beautiful, huge but beautiful, massive Bowie. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's what I want at some point before I kick the bucket, which it's going to be far off. Is a knock on wood. Oh, I hate getting myself in these little verbal traps, so I'm just going to stop and say cancel. And say what I would like to get sometime is the Predator machete. So what I'm talking about is in the movie Predator, I'm sure you all know they all have the same knives. They all have the survival knife that looks kind of like a Lyle survival knife, just beautiful. And then they all have a large Bowie that's double, or not Bowie, a large machete, but it looks way heavier than a machete with double edges and this big sub hilt handle, and really cool. And it's the one that Billy, he carves the cut in his chest and he stands on the log to fight the Predator. That's the knife he's holding. Well, they all have that knife. I've watched that movie 8 trillion times, and they all carry that knife, even though he's the only one who's really featured with it. Amen, says 9198 David. I'm in California, and it's a clown show. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. But, it's par for the course these days. Like everywhere is a clown show. New York, where I used to live, man, I would not want to live there right now. JN says, stay out of Malibu, Lebowski. Exactly. If you know what's good for you. Have a nice day says, California is always, it's beautiful, but, yeah, well, hey, you could say that about New York too. New York State is beautiful. New York City is awesome. I still say it's the best city ever in the world. I love New York City, but man, it's got problems. Stephen Wallace says, is there an elephant on that Bowie? Yes, there is. That's their logo. Here, let me show it to you. It's also embossed in the leather sheath quite elegantly and beautifully. I like that. Yeah, so that is the Kudaman logo. Check out Kudaman. They have some. You'll notice every time I say it, I pronounce it ever so slightly differently because I don't really know. Like Kudaman. And then I draw attention to how awkward it is to say. So this Bowie, check out the company. And I think they might be related to the Joker knife company, also from Spain, because of the serial number. Looks to me like Joker Bowie knife 1, but I could be 100% wrong about that. But I know sometimes like brands are affiliated. Shane knows a lot about that. Shane opened my eyes to some brand affiliations that I didn't know about. He's a sleuth, by the way. Shane says, every Navy SEAL I met carries a custom Winkler. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want a Winkler in my life. The conversation interview I had with him was so, I don't know. I've been waiting a long time to talk to that guy, and it was so cool. I met him very briefly. I was introduced to him by knife maker Chris Stroop at Blade Show, and I had one impression of him, and my conversation with him was different from that impression. It was so much better. My impression of him was that it was going to be hard to get him to talk. He seemed laconic when I met him, but that's because there was so much going on around, and it's Blade Show, and it's 50 million people. He's being introduced to 1,000 people, and he was just being polite. But it's like, but then when I got a chance to sit down one-on-one with him, it was so cool. And yeah, Winkler knives, that's what the Navy SEALs love. And I think it's interesting because they're so old school, kind of, to a great extent. They use natural materials. They're very simple designs. They're based on old American knives. Daniel Winkler was a recreation, specialist in terms of recreating Revolutionary War battles and reenactments and stuff like that. And that's how he got into knives. And I think it's cool to think of these modern high tech, like the most trained warriors we have with the most high tech gear and all that stuff, still opting for their ancient tool, their knife, to be a pattern that is some of the most patriotic possible knife patterning you could be using, as they're like the earliest American knives in their kit with all of that high-tech stuff. All right, that's a long way of saying I just think it's very cool, the stylistic contrast between what I think of a Navy SEAL and the Winkler knife. Case rested. Christoph says, when is your bro going to duplicate that glove to make you a whole pit fighter? That would be awesome. Yes, or something for my lower legs that have some sort of nasty spike on the top part of my foot, and then some sort of a spike coming out of the knee, because I'm especially good at knees. So I would optimize that weapon. Todd Carr says the carved. My old English coming back out late at night. The carved utensils are all used. Family gets most of them. Occasionally, they go to friends. I only carve with seasoned hardwoods like maple finished with mineral oil, so food safe. That is really cool. Do you season the wood? And does that does that mean warm and dry for a few years? I remember my grandfather seasoning a walking stick, and he was like, "Yeah, this will be ready in a couple of years." And I was like, 10 or whatever. Like, what? You're going to take a fifth of my lifetime just to get that walking stick ready? Seemed like a big deal at the time. But is that how you're seasoning that wood that you carve with? Professor EDC says, "Come on, guys and gals, hit that like button. Come on, people. Hit the like button." Shane Gable says, "And thank you, Professor. I appreciate your endorsement." Shane says, "Cali is fine if you get out of the big cities. Lots of country farm folk in California." Yes, indeed. Yeah. Even the cities are cool, though. Or were cool last time I was in them, like 20 years ago, I guess. Very long time ago. Buddha Flash, good to have you here, Buddha Flash. Good evening, all. Haven't been able to tune in a while due to family stuff. That Bowie is pretty. Well, I hope the family stuff is resolving itself, if it's complicated family stuff. And if it's good family stuff, well, I'm glad you were attending. In any case, good to have you here. I like Joker knives, says Ketmuk Neshart. I have a couple, all nice. I know that they focus definitely on the hunting knives. But do you know if Joker owns this C brand, Kudaman? Weston Probst, good to have you here, Weston. That Winkler interview was awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know you're not saying that for me because you're saying he's awesome, but yes, I agree. But it happened on my show, so I'll say thank you for it. Byron says, great interview with Winkler, by the way. Yeah, man. Yeah, cool dude, and really cool story. Very cool story. And, really great to talk to him, seeing as I've been savoring Terminal List, the series. And I know it's only 8 episodes. My dad watched it in like one afternoon, or like 2 afternoons, I guess. And my dad is far more mature than I am, not just in age. So I'm shocked that I haven't totally just blown through it, but I've been savoring it, and I love seeing the Syoc axes, the R&D axe, tomahawk. It's so cool. Anyway, never enough knives 007 says, my son is in the Navy and going to California for special warfare. Wow, man. So he's probably going to have a Winkler knife at some point. Special warfare. That's amazing. Congratulations, Never Enough Knives. That can only mean that you did your job well, that he is doing well enough to be able to go there is no doubt in no small part due to your effort. So pat yourself on the back for that. That's pretty sweet. Papa Shredder says, Ketmuk, you're right. Joker makes some awesome knives. I've been looking at this Joker Bowie. I think I just mentioned it earlier with the stag crown handle. I don't have any stag crown Bowies. That's what I want. Kind of like the one Brad Pitt uses. He uses a Shining Mountain Bowie blade, but he's got a the crown from the stag down here. Oh, it's so cool looking. I love that. Have a Knife Day says, anyone else going to California Custom Show on October 22nd or 23rd? Yeah, let us know. And who else is at Blade Show? Anyone? Well, I'm sure most of the people who are at Blade Show are celebrating. The seals were kind to us Seabees. We decided if we got AC or not. Shane, I didn't know you were a CB. My uncle Tony, my great uncle Tony, was a CB in the Philippines in World War II, and man, it was really hardcore. He was like, we were there with our bulldozers building army barracks basically with no protection. It was really, really dark. And the CBs, man, they are underappreciated. So here's to you, man. I had no idea. That's awesome. Have a Knife Day says, at least California is kind of friendly. Oh, kind of knife friendly. No OTFs over 2 inches, but fixed blades all day. Yeah, that is so weird. That is just a weird knife law, that the whole OTFs thing. And Shane, thanks for your service, man. I should have mentioned that as well, because it's no small thing to voluntarily defend everyone else's family and put yourself in harm's way. I appreciate it. Papa Shredder says, surprisingly, California is not awful for knife laws. It's the big cities that are bad. Yeah, California. I mean, I have a lot of good memories from California, trips I've gone. I've had a number of friends out there. Pacific Coast Highway was beautiful. I mean, so much hanging out with people who live in cities like San Francisco, who live in cities like Los Angeles and San Diego. That was a lot of fun. And Fresno. That was a lot of fun. When you're not a tourist, when you can be there with someone who knows their way around. Todd Carr says, yep, I gather the wood and let it season in the shed for a couple of years. Paint the ends with beeswax to keep it from splitting. From splitting to too much. Stick a tag on it with a year where it was stored. How cool. So that's interesting. And that, wow, that is cool. I was thinking for a moment we were talking about walking sticks, but we're talking about utensils. So, essentially a walking stick length could give you several utensils. Ketmuk says, Bob, not that it matters, but I fully support your acquisition of a Stag Bowie. It matters. It matters. I will give you my wife's email address, and you can write me a 3-paragraph note. Please, 5 lines only per paragraph. And that will guarantee its best chances of getting read. 3 paragraphs, 5 lines. Don't exceed that ever if you're writing a business letter. Byron Kennedy says, old guard versus new guard. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just blabbing. I'm blabbing. Yeah, old guard versus new guard, because we have people like Colin Maison-Pierre who with Kev are designing these amazing new knives. I'm kind of seeing them as the new guard. And then we have the old guard, these kind of knives. You remember these kind of knives, the Benchmade Griptilian. We have the Spyderco PM2, and you're like, why are you talking? Yeah, but the PM2 has been around a long time, and it's a good platform. It's a great platform. It's a great knife, but Is it a classic now? Is this something? Okay. Let's think of this like music. Anyone heard Nirvana on a classic rock station and want to puke? Are we dealing with the same kind of phenomenon here? Is this something that is going to go out of date where people are just like, I'm not carrying that thing anymore, just like I'm not wearing bell bottoms anymore? Is this going to happen? Uh, is this the old guard? And is this something that we need to keep and respect as we should with tradition? Because tradition doesn't just pop out of someone's fanciful thinking 15 minutes ago. Tradition is something that's built up over time, like trust, and should not be just discarded. Uh, but at the same time, we got to make room for the new. So where it, so I mean, this is an eternal question. It's couched in knives, but it's kind of like a universal question. Like, how much tradition do you let go to make way for the new? I mean, but you got to maintain the tradition. Otherwise, there's no basis to know how to be or to know how to make a knife. Caleb says, gonna have to head out early now that you're waxing philosophic like. Driving to Baton Rouge tomorrow for some football. Good night, y'all. Well, have a safe trip, Caleb. Keep your eyes peeled on the road and make sure that you just take it easy, man. You know, I did a before you leave, Caleb, and this is not a lecture. I did an aggressive driving PSA that was pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. But in some of the research I did, it's been proven that the extra 5 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour, and I'm actually telling this to myself because I got a heavy foot, but it's not going to get you there sooner. It just ain't. So have a safe trip. Have an awesome trip. Stasa says, "Go Tigers." Hey, Stasa, good to have you here, sir. This is another man who's cost me a lot of money. Have a nice day says, I'm looking to move out of Orange County, California, looking north to Redding or Mount Shasta. Nice. The Mount Shasta area, more towards Oregon border, would like land, use my training to make a bushcraft. And if you hear, you know what I'm thinking, just because it's my, one of my pet interests. But yeah, that sounds like Bigfoot territory. That sounds fun. But then again, maybe not fun, because who the hell wants to come across a beast in the woods? But that sounds beautiful. Mount Shasta is beautiful. I was there when I was about 10, and it left an impression, that whole area. Lacey Lace says, what made me want to puke is a sharpening customer sending me a counterfeit bug out and PM2 and a clone small 21 to sharpen for him. I hate counterfeits. Lacey, did he know that they were counterfeits? I wonder. That sucks. I mean, especially if it has, like, there are some companies that kind of flirt with designs and make them look like some, and then there are others that just put the name on and go the whole 9 yards, the whole 9 yards. Was this oh, are these three things clones? Does this guy know that they're fakes? That's what I want to know. Christoph says, I love Delicas and I'm constantly modifying them. I do too. Well, I don't modify them. The only thing I do is put different clips on them. But I like my Endura too. This has been a in terms of work knife, I've probably done the most actual work with this knife right here. Even though I have stronger ones and ones that I've be more willing to sacrifice. This is such a great knife in good old unsuper VG10. Will B says, take a look at the Spyderco military. Oh, I want the military too. I can't wait for the military 2 to come out with the compression lock and the tip up carry. And I think there's something else. Oh, different steel too. That's an even older model than the PM2, and they're refreshing it by finally putting a compression lock on it. Yes. So the reason that one isn't obsolete is because they never brought it to its logical conclusion, which is a better one of these. Better just because it's larger and more to my liking, but also actually better because it's got a better handle to blade ratio. Caleb says, I drive like a grandma. Well, don't drive too much. That's dangerous too. And then you'll have jerks like me being like, get in the right lane, left lane. Oh, no. Drive like a grandma. That's fine. drive in the right lane as a grandma. And then when you're feeling like you need to pass someone and you go faster, you get in the left lane, but you get back in the right lane. I drive fast and I keep it in the right lane fast and then come over, because also the optics, it looks better to be in the right lane to the cop, I think. Will B says, I drive my Jeep like I stole it. I like, just careful with the turns, right? High center of gravity. Lacey says, I messaged him. He didn't reply to me about it yet. I'm concerned that he doesn't know. So, Lacey, what were the main indicators? The bug out and the PM2 are full marking counterfeits. That's so sleazy. And the Sabenza has no markings, so just a clone. Okay. So counterfeit versus clone. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah. So full-on counterfeit has all the markings and it says Spyderco. And a clone just looks like it, but they didn't go so far as to label it. I really hope he doesn't know that they are counterfeits, and would be terrible if he paid for. Oh wait, I really hope he doesn't not know that they are counterfeits. That would be terrible if he paid real money. Yeah, that would suck. But you got to tell him or make sure he knows. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. God, that's, yeah. I remember the old argument for picking up a counterfeit or a clone. It's like, well, I just want to make sure that I like this. But I like the Microtech feel before I purchase the actual Microtech. And I say to that, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And basically what I mean by that is, like, if really you only want it so you can feel what it's like, you're going to get it and you're going to feel what it's like and be like, okay, this feels fine. And now that I have it in hand, why should I spend $400 and get the other one? Because if it feels bad in hand, you're not going to know if the real $400 one feels good. So I don't know. I think it's a weak justification, but I know all about weak justifications because I've practiced many of them. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So anyway, old guard versus new guard. Let me know if you think what's out there is, what's turning classic. This is also a bit inspired by the Jack Wolf knives. They are they're not shockingly good. I mean, everyone knew they were going to be good, and everyone knows they're good, but they just have won me. I mean, what am I trying to say here? This is what I'm trying to say, is that when you look down at them, you can see I have all 7 of them now. Jeez, oh Pete. A number of us do. Stasa does, I believe. And yeah, look at these things, though. So the Ohio River Jack now, having these modern, these slip joints in the modern materials like this really is making me, come back into my slip joint phase or into a slip joint phase. And seeing as it's winter and I tend to carry more knives in winter, that's what's happening. And what I mean by that's what's happening, that means the Ohio River Jack is next. I gotta check that thing out. It looks pretty sweet. There we go. Look at that lineup. That is so beautiful. Let me up the light one. There we go. All right, so that's the sharpshooter. Let's see. Sharpshooter, laid back, Lil Bro. Oh, Canine, Benny's Clip, Vampire. What's this one called again? What's this one called, people? What's this one called? I love the coffin handle on this Barlow with the sheep's foot. This is such a great knife. This one, I cleaned that one off. This one I was using a lot. Each one of these spent, a full month in my pocket before the next one came. And each one got quite a good bit of use. The one that didn't get much use was the Lil Bro, because at first I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it or not, if I was supposed to or allowed to keep it. And because it had a little blade wrap issue, and he will be reissuing these at some point. They have me carrying slip joints daily now, says Dasa. I know. The They really have that the greatness of the material feel, and that the amazing build, the feel of the build, and then the undeniable beauty. They are just absolutely beautiful. And I don't have any of the real flashy carbon fibers, but there can be a lot of beauty in subtlety. Look at you can see little hints of purple in this black swirl carbon fiber. It's just, you see it and it's, man, yeah, it's nice. I love these things. Let's see. Ketmuk says the Ohio River Jack is nice. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to talk about one item that's on my list of things to talk about that I know I'm not going to get to, but this one thing I want to talk about. Papa Shredder says slip joints are not our cup of tea. That being said, Jack's got some sweet designs. No doubt. I think, you know, maybe a campsite whittler. I know you guys are always out there banging on your knives. You like the hard use fixed blades a lot. I do too. But wait, what's midnight? Is something going? Is there a drop happening? Oh, Midnight Jack. Midnight Jack. Yes. What's midnight? What are you talking about? What's happening at midnight? Is it another drop I'm gonna miss? Mike, says I have only one slip joint in my collection. Which one is it, Mike? What is it? Is it a Swiss Army knife? I know a lot of people have those. I don't own a slip joint. All locked or fixed for me. Will, I think you need one. I don't think it necessarily has to be a Jack Wolf knife, but you might. I don't know. Guy who likes fixed blade knives, it seems to me, should also have a few slip joints. Blade Ogre says, so the Benny's clip is the biggest Jack Wolf so far. I believe it is, though. The Vampire Jack is just, I mean, the Vampire Jack is actually exactly the same size. Let me see if I can get it perfectly lined up. Yeah. Just, I mean, just a hair shorter is the Vampire Jack. So yeah, the Benny's is the largest. And I got to say, the Benny's was the one that, I mean, they all instill confidence. They're all really well-built knives, but this one is just feels a little bit beefier, maybe because the handle is broad and the blade is broad. But this one, I used it harder than any of these others, and harder. I mean, I used it on cardboard. That's the hardest thing I've used any of these for. Mostly I baby them and use them to cut like sandwiches and stuff like that. Lacey says, I really want a sharpshooter. The only one I cared about. Wish I would have picked one up. Oof. Well, maybe on the secondary they'll come about. Lacey, one thing I really like about the gun stock is that it's single bladed, and you can find single bladed gun stock jacks, but the only one I had experience with before this had the secondary blade there, had a pen blade, and it obscured the shape of the handle, so you didn't get the ergonomics. So this is a good one to have as a favorite, and keep your eyes peeled. You know that one will pop up eventually and you'll be able to get your hands on one, but I think it'll take a little bit of vigilance. Laren Thomas has a new steel. It's like, Laren, slow down. No, I'm just kidding. Don't slow down, because this is a carbon steel and it's optimized for custom knife makers who are forging knives. So it's kind of, he went in a sort of very different direction from Maximet, and he has this new steel out and he collaborated with two knife makers to make it, and it's called Apex Ultra. I think that's a cool name. Apex Ultra is his new steel, and yeah, like I said, optimized for taking out of a forge and pounding on, and it's basically got a lot of the properties of something like 1095, but can go way up in Rockwell hardness, and go up to like 65 in Rockwell hardness, I think they said, and then also is very tough and has super edge resistance. God, I'm getting tired. Edge holding capabilities. So could be interesting, could be very cool, but probably not something most of us Oh my God. Look at that knife. I'm sorry, that chef's knife is incredible. I know it's a Japanese knife. I can't remember what they call it, but I love the sheath with the little stud implying that you slip that in your belt. I love that. I think all kitchen knives should have sheaths that you can slip in your belt because they are the weaponiest knives in our culture these days. So may as well just make sheaths for them. But what I was saying about the Apex Ultra, the steel itself, is that it's probably one that most won't get a chance to have or handle, as it's going to be mostly for custom makers and those who work in forges. Though Ben Schwartz from Knife News asked Laren if if this is a good steel for production too, and he swore up and down, yes, it is. And hey, man, I believe anything Laren Thomas says. If it has anything that's left-brained at all, I believe him. Laren Thomas is a very, very smart dude and knows his steels, obviously. Shane says, Bob, I wanted to sharpen that Magna Cut myself. No offense taken. Oh, well, that's cool, man. I mean, you will learn that steel doing that. I wonder how, how much of an, like, does he zero grind it and then you give it like a relief edge, or is it, it'll be interesting to see how this works. And I would love to see if you make a video of it on your channel, Shane. Paper Tiger says, the only Slippy I own is the Rough Rider 007. Rough Rider RRR 007, but I'd like a GEC. RRR. I think you mean Rough Rider, right? Jack Wolf Knives is amazing. Clearly, clear out for the Venom Jack, people. Oh, which one is the Venom Jack? Oh, can't wait. Well, my favorite just keeps shifting. But like this swayback Jack, man, he really nailed it on the swayback Jack. He nailed it on all of them, but I love the swayback, but not too curvy a handle. And he really tamped down the handle a little bit, and man, made it perfect. Love these things. So keep your eyes peeled for Apex Ultra if you're ordering a new knife. And Rough Rider Reserve. That's right. Okay. Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate it, sir. Shane says it only has it has no secondary bevel. I'm putting it at 15 degrees. It has great geometry for that. Shane, do you use stones, or do you have a fixed angle sharpening system? That is a gutsy move. I must admit. I think it is, or maybe it isn't, but I think it is. To buy a really sweet knife like a American Blade Works version 6 and to have it unsharpened, and to I'm putting the factory edge on it. This is my factory edge. I like that. That shows confidence and class, Shane. Fixed angle diamond. Okay. I have which system do I have now? It's not the Wicked Edge, it's the KME. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but I don't know. I've never quite bonded with it. Lacey said, I'm so excited to get my 2 Rex 76 mules. So the mule is kind of a test bed for steels, isn't it? I can't wait to get them on the stones. And I'm dying for me a pair of new 15V Manix 2s that BBB has his hands on. Oh my God, I want to so bad. Wait a sec. 15V? Is this all science fiction? Rex 76? Huh. Well, I think it's cool that Spyderco does the... Well, Lacey, I got to find out more about your sharpening. I might have to send you some stuff. Do you have a channel, Lacey? Because I only send knives to sharpeners what got channels. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm interested in your sharpening. I'd like to find out more. Shane Gable says, I wish all Benchmade came unsharpened as to avoid their shit burnt edge. Man, I was watching Jared's review of this knife, the Elite Tactical Parallax. The company reached out to him, reached out to me, I'm sure a number of other people. And my review of this will be up on Friday, or on Thursday. I'm already seeing pitting. Interesting. Or maybe I just need to clean it. But there are things that Jared saw that Shane just mentioned that I haven't seen on mine, though I'm not sure I'd be able to identify. And he was talking about, Jared was talking about his edges were burnt on his parallax. Now my edge is just inconsistent and kind of poorly ground. They sent me 2 knives. The edge on my other knife is really good. And it's nice. It's easy to tell too, because the whole blade is blackened, but you can see the edge. So it's very easy to track the line of the edge. And this knife is filthy. I've been using it. And I think it's D2. And I think there may already be a little bit of corrosion starting in there, but I don't know. I'm going to have to check it out. In any case, my point is someone who sharpens like Shane or Lacey or Jared Neve see things that we don't necessarily see, like burnt edges. So if you're having trouble with a steel that you know to be good, with a company that you know to be reputable, and it's not holding its edge or something's up with the edge, it could be this sort of issue. Might help to reach out to someone like Shane or Lacey or Jared. Shane says Manix 2 in 15V with BBB Big Brown Bear recipe is the knife of the year. Yeah, this is what you were talking about last night, Shane, or on Monday night. Shane Gables, ladies and gentlemen, will be on the Knife Junkie podcast to talk about all things knives, but also Knives Live on November 4th and 5th. We have a great conversation. It was a fun time. Definitely check it out. All right. Well, we're getting close to pulling into the station, so I hesitate to crack open something else. I think I'm just going to talk. Almost all factory edges aren't great. Even Spyderco factory edges doesn't last like it should. Are you shouting this, Shane, or I mean, I know you're underlining it, but who do you think then, Shane? Because you were saying that you think Spyderco does, and it's not just you, it's like kind of universally accepted that for a big production company, Spyderco is the best, hand over fist with heat treat. Who would you say is best with factory edge? I would venture to say Cold Steel does a pretty slamming job on their factory edge. There are others, no doubt, but I'm always willing to throw the Cold Steel ring hat in the ring. Lacey says, absolutely correct. I never, ever even pay attention to knife's edge retention until at least edge number 4. Interesting. Probably the current best factory edge is Hogue. Nice. Oh, I like hearing that. Let me see. Yes. Mine. Yeah, I have not sharpened this. Has a great one. Yes, I'm shouting it. Nice. All right. Well, how about this? Emerson has a pretty awesome factory edge. And I know you're all cringing because it happens to be a chisel edge, but it's awesome. And it's sharp as hell, man. Cold Steel has done the best for me, says Dasa. Here. And I'm not just saying that as a fanboy. Cold Steels do come razor sharp. Yeah. And I've been paying more attention to just an even grind. I want to see at the top of the edge bevel and the very edge of the blade. I want to see that parallel, even if it's curving, And, Cold Steel, look at the Chris knives they put out. Razor sharp, not missing a beat on the parallel lines of their curves across the waves of the Chris blade. I can't believe they managed that, actually. It's so awesome. They're Chris blades. Bob is laying truth. Industry won't say it. Yes, the truth teller. Transparent Knives water grinds his blades, but production companies can't do that. Yeah. He just sold a beautiful harpoon clip point, and it looked he did some sort of blasting on it. It looks so cool on a titanium bodied AD 20.5. That guy is so talented. Never Enough Knives 007 says factory edge is overrated. Yeah, factory edge is only something to brag about when you're selling a knife, I think. Right? I mean, still has the factory edge, which implies I haven't used it or used it hard or used it much. Ergo, the knife itself is in good shape. by deduction, but that's not always the case. Shane Gable says, yes, Hogue has great edges. Yeah. My EX01 and the EXT01, the Tomahawk, has a freaking amazing edge, and it is a bit, wedge-like by comparison, but man, it's razor sharp, like really sharp. Cold Steel and Hogue for folders, LT Wright for fixed. Very nice. I would also say Bark River has pretty sweet edges for fixed blades. Tops Knives. This is tremendous. The edge on this thing is amazing. Or the edges on this thing are amazing. Papa Shredder says, want to get that. I'm sorry. Want to get. Oh, my goodness. Has held pretty dang well for us. What's WTG? WTG has held pretty dang well for us. I'm sorry, man. My brain is acting slow, and I don't know what that means. WTG. I say want to get because I'm in this acquisitive mode constantly. Todd Carr says, been pretty happy with Cold Steel with first edge, but only have a small amount that I have sharpened and used consistently. Yeah, they are. The Cold Steels just come awesome. Some of the bigger Bowie type knives have a bit of a thick behind the edge thing, like the Frontier Bowie is a bit like that, but work tough gear. Okay, that is my next obsession, I guess. They have so many cool designs. I got to get me one. Kepmuk says LT Wright and Mora for fixed. Just screaming sharp. Screaming sharp. Well, lady and gentlemen, I think that's me for the evening. I got to get up in 5 hours and go hit it hard. So be sure to join us on Sunday when we have an awesome interview with Shane Gables, the great and powerful and charming, smart, and knows his knives. And man, we have an awesome conversation. I love Shane. He's awesome. Awesome dude. Come check it out on Sunday. That's episode number 358. And then join us on Wednesday for the midweek supplemental, where I will yammer on about something knife related that I have not written down yet. And then Thursday, again, for Thursday Night Knives, right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thank you to all the new patrons. It is greatly appreciated. And, keep your eyes peeled for all the extra content and the knife giveaways. All right. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, please, I implore and beg you, don't take dull for an answer.